Hi, everyone. We'll be beginning week 10 this week, and so we'll be working on Module 10. In Module 10, you'll be asked to consider adding transitions and transitional phrases to your humor argument essay. You'll also be asked to complete peer review for 2 of your classmates. Then you should revise and submit the humor argument essay and reflect on peer review. So as you're working on your humor argument essay this week on revising it and strengthening it to get it ready to turn in, something that can help your writing is to consider adding transitions and or transitional phrases. And so in the module, you'll see some examples. And what I'm asking you to do is to read through your body paragraphs and to consider how you're connecting the ideas. So do you already see transition words there? Or are there places where you could add transition words to help strengthen your writing? So you'll see here on the left that there are different kinds of transitions. There are transitions that show addition or examples or clarify. There are transitions that show contrast or replacement. There are transitions that show sequence or conclusion. There are also transitions that show cause and effect, condition, or consequences. So there's lots of transitional words and phrases here. You're not expected to use all of these transitions in your essay, right? That would be a lot. And really, we have to think about the context of the writing, the kind of ideas that you're including, to try to figure out which transition words may be helpful. And so typically writers use transition words to show how ideas are related, to show if something is an example of some particular point, or to show if there's an alternate idea that's being explained. And so as you read through your body paragraphs, try to consider these ideas that you're adding. Do you see where you add specific examples? If you do, you might use words like for instance, for example, or specifically, right? Do you see where you're going through maybe steps or different parts of something? You might use sequence, right? Like to begin with, or at first, or secondly, or next, or before, or then, right? Or do you see where you may have ideas that contrast with each other, like on the other hand, or however, right? In contrast. Or do you see where ideas are connecting, like indeed, furthermore, moreover, right? In fact. And so you're going to have to look at your writing and see how these ideas relate to each other. I have some examples that I included here down on the bottom of the slide, bottom right side. So you might look at a paragraph, and if you're going through, for instance, maybe you have a paragraph where you're explaining humor in the workplace and how people should use humor in the workplace. First, they should do this. Next, they should do this. Then they should do this, right? Finally, they should do that. Or you could say, you know, people should use humor in this way. However, right, that's the contrast. However, they should avoid using humor in this other way, right? You might also look at the beginning of your body paragraphs. So sometimes when we have one body paragraph and then we transition into our next body paragraph, it can be helpful to use a transition at the beginning of that second body paragraph. And there's some examples of that here. So it helps connect our body paragraphs together when we refer to the previous body paragraph, like along with this idea that I just explained. It's also important, right, for this new topic to consider this because, right, or in addition to this idea that I just explained, right, it is also essential to consider this other idea, right? Or if we're showing how things kind of are separate or contrast, even though humor is helpful in the workplace, what do we need to consider, right? And that can show how our body paragraphs connect to each other instead of just having kind of points at random, you know, if that makes sense to you. So this takes practice, right? And you're going to get feedback from me on the transitional words and phrases that you add to your essay. So feel free to experiment. Think about how can you add transitions and transitional phrases that will make your ideas flow together, right? That'll connect ideas within a paragraph, but also help your paragraphs flow into each other and make connections. After that, you're asked to complete peer review for 2 classmates this week. And so please make sure to spread out your peer review so that everybody gets some feedback. There's a peer review attachment, a handout to use in the discussion area. And please complete your peer reviews by the end of the day on Thursday this week. That'll give your classmates enough time to look at your suggestions and consider how they can incorporate them. Try to be sure to give positive comments, but also constructive help. And so sometimes it's easy just to say, oh, everything looks really great. I'm noticing that many of you, all of you actually have really great ideas, really strong work that you're posting to the discussion board. I've looked through the posts that you've contributed and you're all doing really great. But try to think about some suggestions to give. That's because, getting feedback from your classmates is a great way to strengthen your work before you turn it in. And it's great to get this practice before you move into other classes. So for instance, many of you may go on to English 1110 as the next level course. In that class, you'll also be asked to complete peer review, but it'll be for assignments that are more complex, right? Maybe an essay someone writes in an English 1110 class might include 5 or 6 sources, right? So you could look at your classmates' writing and try to help them think about things like, are they citing their sources in their paragraphs? Do you see places where, you've all read some of the same essays over the last few weeks together? So do you see places where your classmates might add more support, or they could add some examples from one of the humor articles that we read? Do you see places where your classmates could add transition words? And so going forward in English 1110, peer review is used widely. And often students use peer review and hope that they get really helpful comments so they can strengthen their work. And when they turn in their essays, they're going to get a grade. And most likely they don't get to revise that again. Whatever grade a student gets, they're stuck with. And so peer review can be really helpful in helping other people get stronger grades in class and helping people strengthen their writing. So please give lots of constructive feedback. You might read your, if you've chosen one person's essay, you might read it aloud. Sometimes we can hear things that are missing if we read things aloud. After that, after Thursday, please revise your humor argument essay using the feedback that you've received from your classmates. Also, if you've gotten feedback from a tutor, you could use that feedback to strengthen your work. If you go back to Module 8, you'll see the humor argument essay instructions. You can go back and make sure you've met their requirements and make sure that you use MLA format or style, right? So here on the right side of the page, you can see MLA format where it has the student's name, instructor's name, class, the date, title of the paper in the center, paragraphs indented, and all of the text is double spaced. And a fast way to double space is to press the Control or Command button on your keyboard and the letter A. That'll select all of the text. And then press the Control or Command button and the key for number 2. That will double space everything. Notice that we don't have extra spaces in between any of these lines. Everything is just the same double spaced. There is something missing here. Does anybody know what it is? Up at the top right corner, we should have a page number, right? And the student's last name. So if you go into Word and go to the Insert tab, you should see something that says page number. And you're going to select the option that will put the page number up here at the top right corner. And then type your last name right next to it. That would be fully MLA style or MLA format. If you need any help with this or you have any questions, feel free to let me know. And then you'll also see a reflection assignment where you're asked to reflect on peer review. There's 4 questions to answer. You can just be honest, right, on what's working well for you with peer review and how you use the suggestions or what didn't go well, right? Only I will see this. Your classmates won't see this reflection. This helps me see how I can help you get stronger feedback, or if you're just doing really well, you're getting great feedback. That gives me some information as well too, as we move into our 3rd and final project. So there's a module checklist, just like there always is. And of course, I'm here to help. So if you'd like, you can contact me by email and we can set up a time to talk if you would like any help with your assignment. We can meet in Zoom video or by phone. And I hope you have a great week. I'm looking forward to reading your humor argument essay Take care. Bye.